BSM Live starts soon. BSM Live starts soon. BSM Live starts soon. This is a presentation of Blakesley Sports Media. Welcome to BSM Live. Here's your host, Stephen Blakesley.
Well, we want to welcome you into the second episode of Blakesley Sports Media Live, and I'll just take a moment here to let people start to log in before we go completely live and start diving into all the things that we want to talk about. Let me know how my audio levels sound as well, and I can edit that and work on that as the show goes on as well. And I actually have, I have two cameras, so I can go like this and say hello here, and then I can bring myself back up over here as well. So just wanted to say hello and testing things out on my upgraded equipment here after a very exciting weekend at Irwindale Speedway. I want to say hello to everybody that is tuning in so far, and a little bit of a different angle on our broadcast. So I hope you guys like this angle. It's something a little bit different. Got my new camera set up, so we're not just stuck on the low quality webcam that we had before, which looked like this, and now we can go with stuff that's a little bit nicer. So I just wanted to show you guys what we're up to and say hello, and really excited after an awesome weekend at Irwindale Speedway. And I'll tell you what, it was such a unique event, and that was what I kept saying throughout the weekend at the Sunrise Ford All-Star Showdown, was that it was just a very unique weekend. To be able to have a $5,000 to win modified race, a $10,000 to win pro late model race, and a $25,000 to win super late model race, all on the same program. And it made for a very exciting night of racing. Ended up being, well, let's put it this way. It was supposed to be 375 laps of racing. And in a moment, we'll dive into the fact that we ended up going 376. And we'll talk a little bit about how that happened. So that was kind of interesting as well. We went an extra lap in the Pro Late Model race, and we'll talk more about that here on Blakesley Sports Media Live. Once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Got a lot of people popping up on the comments so far saying that they're tuning in. So I want to say hello to everyone as we're diving on in and recapping Irwindale. And also on the same token on tonight's broadcast, we're going to be talking a little bit about all the festivities coming up in Florida this weekend. So we'll be talking about everything going on with the ARCA event on Saturday at Daytona. We have the ARCA East Series on Monday. And then all around that is the World Series of Asphalt Short Track Stock Car Racing at New Smyrna. So we're going to talk a little bit about all of that as well throughout the program. Also going to talk a little bit about the Stockton 99 Speedway. Had their season opener, and then they're going to switch gears this weekend, and it'll be the Stockton Dirt Track that will be racing this weekend. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. So lots of things to cover, lots of cool video. Hey Nick, what's up? I'll say what's up back to you. And for those of you that are early to tuning in, well, you're going to be in for a treat because we have lots of really cool video from the All-Star Showdown. The boys at Low Budget TV didn't quite get all of the highlights done, but I got some stuff on my own on a cell phone. I was filming some stuff in the infield, got some really good clips of the battling in the modified race and in the pro late model race. We also have a look at the big wreck in the SRL race, so you're going to get to see all of that here on the program. So once again, big hello to everybody that's tuning in so far. And if you are not aware of how things went this weekend at Irwindale, so they started practicing on Thursday, and then they had more practicing on Friday. We got to do some interviews. You may have seen on Facebook, on the Blakesley Sports Media Facebook, that we got some interviews with Matt Erickson, Jeremy Doss, some drivers like that. Also got to interview Holly Holland and Austin Reed and Trevor Huddleston. Lots of great interviews there. And then Saturday, all the teams had a final practice straight into qualifying and then an autograph session. And at 5 o'clock, we were racing. And it was beautiful out there at Irwindale. It was about 85 degrees for this very lucrative event. Again, $25,000 to win for the super lates, $10,000 to win for the pro lates, and $5,000 to win for the modified. So what kind of kicked things off for the super late model race was we had 3 drivers, the 22 of Andy Allen, the 21 of Greg Vogt, and the 71 of Christian McGee, that never made it to the start-finish line of the race. And we're going to take a moment now and take a look at a clip showing what happened in that incident.
Already out of turn number 4, a huge wreck. And in more wreck, a massive hit. Multiple cars destroyed. Red flag out immediately. Something happened to the 21 machine on the start, whether he got hit or something happened, Tommy. I don't know what it was. And you see the 21 machine, but the damage on the 22, Andy Allen tried to...
It just continues straight, and that's two.
Yeah, and that's him hitting Kanky, I believe, the 33 machine. So this was the beginning of it. Just an odd look there, Tommy.
So that was kind of wild, right? That was kind of the highlight of the event, if you will, was that incident at the start of the SRL Southwest Tour race. And, you know, the way the race progressed, the first 80 laps was Preston Piltier side by side for numerous laps with Lenny White. And Derek Thorne had claimed his 55th pole in the SRL Southwest Tour, but he dropped back to 3rd at the start. And then about lap 80, he turned up the wick and said, "See you later," and passed both of them. We went into the lap 100 break, and we did some halftime interviews on behalf of MAV TV. And everybody kind of said, hey, we want to tighten the cars up. And we got back underway, and Lenny White from 2nd ends up kind of up against the wall, and he fell back to about 6th. And Derek Thorne was never really in trouble the rest of the way. Derek Thorne picking up the $25,000 victory. Preston Piltier, the $10,000 second place. And a big tip of the hat to Jack Wood, who ran in 4th throughout the entire event and ended up coming back at the end when Taylor Riddle was disqualified from 3rd place for being too heavy on the left side. And Jack Wood, 3rd place in the biggest race of the year. And what you guys may have not seen is that the trophy for the All-Star Showdown was a lockbox that had all the money, and the only way you were going to get access to that lockbox was to pass tech. Ricky Brooks had the keys. And so we interviewed Ricky before the race. He said, "I'm not going to tech anybody any different. You know, even though it's a $25,000 race, I do things the same every time, every track I go to." And we all know that basically if it was a wheelbarrow race, that Ricky Brooks would be looking for titanium and putting him on the scales, right? So anyway, so Derek Thorne got the keys and got the $25,000. And switching gears a little bit to the Pro Late Model race. The Pro Late Model race at Irwindale for the Sunrise Ford All-Star Showdown was probably the race that I was looking forward to more than the Super Late Model race, because they were running on the inside 1/3 mile track, and that's a very low bank track. They put down what they call a grip strip on the outside groove, kind of using material that they use for the drag strip, the 8th mile that's behind Irwindale Speedway, and it produced a ton of awesome racing. And I want to thank my buddy Eric Nascimento Jr. He gave us access to the clips from his onboard camera, and I want you guys to see how good the side-by-side racing was in this Pro Late Model race. And so we have a couple clips in there. We also have his incident with Matt Erickson, and I replay it on the clip, and you guys can kind of make the call on that one. I'm kind of curious what you all think. So here's a look at our very exciting Pro Late Model race that took place on Saturday. I'm kind of wondering what you guys think. Kind of a you make the call type of deal on that Matt Erickson and Eric Nascimento Jr. incident. Very tight quarters. What you may have not been able to notice in that video is that turns 3 and 4 had a very big bump on the inside. There was like a concrete area. I talked to promoter Tim Huddleston, and he said that that bump, that they had spent about $15,000 trying to fix that. If you're not too familiar with Irwindale Speedway, Irwindale is built on top of an old landfill. And so the ground is sinking year after year. And so there's a bit of a bump there in turn 3. So turn 3 was kind of calamity corner as far as it's so narrow there and you can upset the car on that bump, and kind of just looked like, to me at least, and I'm sure people are going to disagree, but it kind of just looked like Nascimento and Erickson were going for the same piece of real estate. That Erickson opened up his entry and Nascimento came in low, and then they ended up coming together. But tough break for both of them, because in the case of Nascimento, the damage from that incident ended up ending his race. So really tough break for him. I guess Erickson came back for a pretty good finish. And then the incident that everyone was talking about that I do not have video on was the incident between Jeremy Doss and Cole Williams battling for the lead, going around lap traffic. But what I do have is I have some video that I shot of this very long battle that Cole Williams and Jeremy Doss had for the lead. And you will see how many laps that Doss spent on the outside groove and how competitive and racy this track was. I would compare the 1/3 mile at Irwindale was very comparable to Roseville and how racy it is. We all know that Madera is a very racy track for pro lates. You can run all the way at the top, all the way at the bottom. This isn't quite as racy as that, but these guys were carrying some great speed and great side-by-side racing, and we'll take a look at that awesome battle here. So you can see there was a lot of side-by-side racing on that track, and it was really exciting to see the Pro Late models succeed at yet another racetrack. So if you guys haven't really been keeping up on what's new with the Pro Late models, which is the Madera series, the Nut Up Pro Late models, coming into 2020, you're going to have Roseville, Madera, Vegas is running the Pro Lates now. Irwindale is going to have a Pro Late Model Series. This was actually, this race I don't believe was part of that Pro Late Model Series, but they have several races scheduled this year. And then Orange Show Speedway and Havasu. A couple of the races with Irwindale are in a series with Havasu, so the drivers are kind of going back and forth. And so for me, getting to be a part of the Madera and Roseville programs and seeing how this thing has grown, it was really cool to see the racing that we had at Irwindale. Of course, it didn't end very well for Doss with the contact with Cole Williams at the end. And then as Doss was spinning around, they kept the race green and they forgot to throw the white flag. And well, the better way to describe it is the flagman at Irwindale is under total instruction from the booth, And there was as far as I heard, there was lots of talk over the race radios, and no one was able to break in and get the message over to the flagman. And so the race ended up going 101 laps, which was kind of interesting. But Cole Williams was scored with the $10,000 victory. Now in the modifieds, this was the season opener for the Spears Modifieds this weekend. They were racing for $5,000 to win. And Jeremy Doss is going to run for the 2020 Spears Modified title. And he put on a heck of a drive trying to run down Travis Thurkettle, and that one ended in heartbreak as well when they came together on the exit of turn 4. And again, I don't have any video of that incident, but I have some cool video from my spot in the infield of Doss just stalking Thurkettle, and let's take a look at that right now. So it was pretty exciting. Those guys dueled for quite a while, and then things kind of went wrong for Doss when they got together on the exit of turn 4, and Thurkettle got the $5,000 victory, which I guess was mired in a little bit of controversy for some people. And then the cool thing, they wrapped up the night at Irwindale after all this excitement with Thorne winning $25,000, the contact in the Pro Late Model race between Doss and Williams, the contact between Thurkettle and Doss. If that wasn't enough, they ended things on Saturday with fireworks. And that was pretty cool too. So not bad. You had fireworks on the track and fireworks above the track. They also had a flyover and all kinds of things. And just want to give a lot of credit to Tim Huddleston, Bob Rincati, Ken Clapp, and everybody that helped organize the Sunrise Ford All-Star Showdown presented by the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame. And what a great way to start off the California pavement racing season with 22 Pro Late models. They had about 34 Super Lates. I think 30 of them ended up taking the green flag. And then we were a little bit worried about the Spears Modified car count, but they ended up having 13 Spears Modifieds take the green flag for their points opener. So a lot of excitement coming off of this awesome night out there at Irwindale. And again, looking forward to this week. There is a lot of racing going on this week in the state of California and across the country. And there's a lot of things to keep an eye on that involve California drivers. So first and foremost, we're going to be starting off with the New Smyrna World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. And there's going to be a California presence all throughout that event. Jeremy Doss is going to be, or excuse me, not Jeremy Doss, Jesse Love is going to be competing in a car out there, as well as you're going to have Giovanni Selzi. So a pair of the Bill McAnally Racing teammates are going to be racing in the Super Lates and the Pro Late models out there. Now, if you go to the NBC Sports Gold Track Pass, you can purchase a pass for $19.99 for the entire season. That's going to include all kinds of ARCA and NASCAR racing. They revealed the schedule a little bit this week, and it's going to include every ARCA East Series race, every ARCA West Series race, I believe all of the Whelen Modified races, and all of the MAV TV televised ARCA Menards National Series races, all included live for $19.99 total for the year. And they're going to start off by showing the entire World Series of Stock Car Racing. And that kicks off on Friday and Saturday. And the ARCA Menards East Series race is on Monday. That'll have all four of the Bill McAnally Racing Toyotas competing with their Toyota-backed drivers. A 20-car field for that one. That'll be on the app. So just what you're going to get Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday would probably pay for $20 worth of content. And that is just going to start off the year. And as the season goes on, they're going to add in some more grassroots racing. I believe Berlin Raceway is is one of the tracks that's going to be a part of that program. So you're going to get to see a lot of different things throughout the year, and I will definitely be tuned in to see that. The NASCAR Whelen Tour Style Modifieds compete at New Smyrna, but it's not part of the NASCAR Whelen Series, and they have 37 pre-entries. And their week next week includes a 76-lap race in honor of Jimmy Blewett and a 100-lap race for Richie Evans. So just those two races, to get to see those live on Track Pass, is going to be worth it. So once again, go to NBC Sports Gold Track Pass. You can look that up on the internet, and you'll have an opportunity to see some amazing short track racing all throughout the year on that app. Want to say hello to everybody that's tuning in. Good to see Marty Mello on here and Bob Gardner. Hey, Jarrett Gilmer, good to see you as well. And, taking a look at that ARCA East entry list for Monday, and it really is kind of promising to have 20 cars entered. A lot of people were really worried about where the car count's going on the East and on the West. And this year on the East Series, they have a Venturini car that's going to be running full time. They also have 4 BMR cars making the trip to New Smyrna, Florida. So really looking forward to seeing that race. Ty Gibbs will be in that race as well. So there's a lot of dynamic talents. Of course, the Drive for Diversity teams are entered as well. So that's the big one on Monday. And on Saturday, I hope everyone will be tuning in to Fox Sports 1 for the ARCA Menards Series from Daytona. 34 entries, and I think I'm a little bit biased here, and I try to not be, but I'm really excited that Michael Self is coming back to the ARCA Menards Series. You may recall when he ran second in the standings last year, that at the season finale in the interview he said, this one really hurts because I don't know if I'm going to be back. Well, he is back, and so that battle between Michael Self and Haley Deegan, I think that's going to be your battle throughout the year. And that all kicks off on Saturday from Daytona. That's right, we're racing at Daytona on Saturday with the NASCAR Cup guys and, of course, the ARCA guys. So I wonder if anybody's going to be tuning into that. Of course, I will be tuning into all of this stuff because I am totally race crazy. But if dirt is more your thing, there will be some dirt racing going on as well. And talked to my buddy Gary Thomas a little bit about the 360s kicking off their 2020 season out there at the Stockton Dirt Track. And I asked him, so Gary, who are some of the big names that are going to be there this Saturday at the Stockton Dirt Track? And the way he started off the message was, well, try this. So he has a pretty good list, right? So they're expecting to see Justin Cox, Mitchell Facino, Michael Facino, Shane Golobic, and Mr. Excitement, Andy Forsberg. So that'll be a pretty good start to the year. That's at the Stockton Dirt Track on Saturday. They're going to have 360 wing sprint cars, dirt modifieds, sport modifieds, bombers, basically 4 cylinders, and NorCal Dwarf cars. That is 6 divisions of racing on the dirt. That's this Saturday at the Stockton Dirt Track. Highly recommend you go out there. And they're going to start at 2 o'clock. So they want to get this thing going. Although the weather is looking very good. Good to see Joe Ancona on there. I wonder if we'll see Ancona out there at the Stockton Dirt Track this weekend. And then the other thing that is going on this week, if you're looking for racing, is the Lucas Oil Racing TV app is doing live coverage of all of the racing at East Bay for the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model Winter Nationals. In fact, they're live right now. So if you're listening to me and you want to go tune into that, you can. But the Lucas Oil Dirt Late Models live from East Bay on the Lucas Oil Racing app. It's today, tomorrow. They're going all the way until February 9th. So they're going all the way to Sunday, from today to Sunday. In fact, the race on the 9th is not at East Bay. It's at a track called All Tech Raceway in Lake City, Florida. So if you buy the Lucas Oil Pass for the year, you could start tuning into some Lucas Oil Dirt Late Model racing as well. So there is all kinds of stuff to tune into this week. And the other big pieces of news this week that we have is the NARC King of the West 410 sprint cars have loaded the barrels with so many good drivers that have committed to running that series. And that series has immediately, for me, kind of leapt to the top as a series that I want to keep an eye on. And when you look at this list of drivers that are going to take on the series, it's an incredible group of drivers. So Jody Robinson, who used to race for Keith Kunz in the midget cars, moving over to the NARC King of the West in the 83 cars, I believe the Dave Vertullo cars. Spencer Baston out of Indiana, folks, is going to move out to California and compete for Tarleton Racing throughout the entire season. So a guy that was racing in Pennsylvania and with the All-Stars and has raced for Keith Kunz as well, for him to make the decision to come out and race an 18 or 19 race King of the West is a big endorsement for the King of the West. So I was very excited to see that. Justin Sanders is loading up in that 16 ride, and they got some new sponsorship from a water company, and that's a very cool looking car. Kyle O'Phil is going to bring the Country Builders back to full-time 410 sprint car racing. And that'll be cool to see Kyle O'Phil going after the Rookie of the Year contender. I would expect you'll see Willie Croft on the King of the West this year. DJ Neto, of course, defending champion of the series. And then as far as the Maury Williams car, of course, Maury passed away last year for the Zero car, so our thoughts with his family. Haven't really heard what they're going to do. And then it sounds like Dennis and Teresa Roth with the Roth Enterprises car may or may not answer the call this year. I guess they're having some health problems as well. But when you look at some of those names, like I said, again, Robinson, Baston, Sanders, O'Phil, Croft, Neto. We'll see Dominic Scelzi quite a bit. That's loading up to be a real good series. What I expect you'll see is I think you're going to see guys like Shane Golobic and Dominic Scelzi kind of run the beginning of the year and the end of the year and then go out to the Midwest in the summer is kind of what I'm hearing. But, you know, things can update and I don't have always the best info, but that's what I've heard so far. So that's all the info that I have for this week on the show. And if you guys have any questions for me about anything going on in the motorsports world before I sign off for this episode, I would love to hear it. We are going to work towards having some guests. Of course, as the season gets going, I will have way more video content. So instead of recapping just Irwindale like I did today, I'll be able to recap 5, 6, 7 races as long as I have people sending me video. So if you're a driver out there and you run an onboard camera like Ty Carlson, you always have onboards at Stockton or things like that, send me your cameras, send me your links. Even if it's a YouTube link, I can pull from there and we'll pepper you in there. Again, want to thank Eric Nascimento Jr. for sending us his stuff. Want to thank the guys at Low Budget TV and Spears Racing TV for having me at Irwindale this weekend representing both the live stream and the MAV TV coverage. And they're going to be live for all 10 SRL Southwest Tour races this year. So I'm really looking forward to seeing all that come in, and we'll be able to use some of that content from time to time. So once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this episode. Pretty good for the first episode here in February to have a half hour worth of stuff to talk about. We'll have a whole lot more to talk about next week. And thanks again for tuning in, everybody. And we're going to see you at the races.